broadcasting live from Haven Conference 2022 in Atlanta. It's time for Organization Conversation, brought to you by Wall Control Storage Systems. Wall Control gives you the storage and organization you crave.
Welcome back to Organization Conversation. I am Richard, and I'm here with my new adopted co-host, Mike. How's it going, Mike?
I'm doing well. How are you, Richard?
I'm doing good. We'll get into Mike, your handle again. Give everybody
Mike built something.
Yes, you have heard Mike on a previous episode, but he is back again, and we have a wonderful guest, Jay, with us today.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Before we get going, tell everybody your own handle so they can kind of start looking you up.
Okay, so it is Jay Munee, DIY, and that is spelled JayMunee, It sounds ridiculous, but you know.
I like it. I remember it.
Thank you.
So
It is memorable.
That's what
It's
I kind of
perfect.
was hoping.
Yeah. So we were talking before. This is your first Haven?
Yeah.
How's it been so far?
A little overwhelming, but also super exciting. Like I feel like one day has felt like 5.
Oh, yeah. Like every hour is a day,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I didn't even realize that I had done so many events yesterday, and today I'm like, oh, it's only there's one more day left.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. So what's your background, Jay? How'd you get into DIY?
So I have actually been DIYing my whole life. I was a broke kid and had really bad social anxiety, so I would avoid all things that involved other people. So I learned how to do my hair myself. I learned how to do my nails myself. I learned how to do all sorts of things in my house myself. And when my husband joined the military, we moved to like middle of nowhere, Virginia, which is not really middle of nowhere. And I didn't have anything to do. I had very little money at the time, and he was kind of like, hey, you're stressing out. Why don't you start making things again, and why don't you film it? You've always wanted a YouTube channel. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, I kind of credit my husband, but I don't want to give him a big head.
Yeah, of course.
So I started the channel, and I got really lucky really quick because it was dollar store DIYs. Like I just took off, and it took off with the name Jay Munee DIY.
Yeah.
And now I'm stuck with it because people ended up knowing me with that name. So here I am.
Yeah, well, hey,
Yeah.
whatever gets you there, you know? So, yeah. Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about what it is that you're making
Okay.
for the audience?
Yeah, sure, of course. So there's so many stores that sell home decor, and it's obviously gorgeous and really expensive. Like there's these intricate mirrors and trays and things, and you look at the price tag and you're like, oh, that's so nice, but I've got like beer money.
Yeah.
and that's not beer stuff.
Yeah.
So I started using dollar store stuff to kind of mimic what those look like almost dupes. And I've made a few things that have been like functional organizational things, some things that have been home decor. And actually the very first thing that went like semi-viral was like the system that I made that was like a little closet. And
I love that concept too. That's super, and that's attainable and reachable for anybody. You know, like it's an excellent jumping off point, and you don't need like a ton of expensive power tools. You can start on a budget and create something.
Yeah, and the fun part is like no matter what budget you're on, because even if you have a large budget, it's always fun to think outside the box and look at things like, oh, I can do this with a broomstick, or I can do this with like a hula hoop.
What can you do with a hula hoop?
Lots of things.
Tell me a couple of them, because you have got me on hook, line, and sinker.
You're going to have to go on my YouTube channel.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Can you give me one preview?
No.
Okay.
You gotta go check it out.
I'm going right after this.
What about just some most remarkable builds or projects you've done that people can go look for on YouTube?
Okay, so the biggest project that I took on, and on film it doesn't look like it took so long, but I remade like one of those giant plastic plathouses, like not the little tiny ones. This took me months. Like I was like pressure washing every day. I even got pneumonia.
Oh my gosh.
It took forever because it would rain or somebody would mow the lawn and it would get all crusty again. I had to paint this whole thing by hand. And the whole time I was just like, how do people do this to houses, like real houses? Yeah. It was insane. And it was worth it, not because of the build, but because I actually tried to do like an HGTV spoof. Mm-hmm. So we did this whole skit where I was like a real estate agent selling this home and redoing it with a contractor. And it went really viral.
Yeah.
And I loved it because I didn't care if it did because it was for my daughter.
Yeah.
So when it did, it was like the extra cherry on top, and I was really proud of it.
Yeah. As
really
part
proud.
of that, did you have like those challenges? Like, that because that to me would be a very compelling part of it.
Yeah.
Just watching how, it's not curated and perfect the whole way through. It's like, oh man, this set me back.
Yeah, definitely. And I try to include those challenges in like videos, especially when it's not the dollar store crafts, because I want people who are not comfortable using tools or anything, to kind of see even people who have a following. They're just doing this along with you. Like you don't.
Yeah. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Nobody knows what they're doing. There's professionals that are still like, ugh, and you just would never know because they polish the content so much. So there are I've posted videos where I'm like, these are my fails.
Yeah.
This is horrible and these are my fails. And while some people don't enjoy watching that, others are like, that's really comforting.
Yeah.
That, so that video in itself, I want to say that I included like some hiccups and I tried to play it off as part of like the budget is too high.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, by the way, I'm sorry for saying so much.
No, I haven't even noticed. I say that's one of my things too. I say all the time.
The transition word,
All right, so I have a question that I'd like to know. Like, what is it? Which comes first? You're going to the dollar store or you have a project?
I'm going to the dollar store.
Okay, so you go into the dollar store, and what is going through your head? Are you like, oh, this looks good, and I'm envisioning all of the different things I can do, or are you just going aisle by aisle and saying, I'm buying this for a future project, I'm going to store it in a closet?
Yeah, so we just moved, and I have so many bins full of dollar store stuff, which has been just me picking it up and being like, I can make this into this, and I can make it into that. So I just have this. I have a museum. I could basically open up a dollar store.
Yeah, I was going to say,
It's crazy. And so for the most part, now I kind of have their merchandise memorized. I don't have to go to the dollar store when I have an idea or when I see like something that I really want to remake. I'm like, oh, I can do that with this. Let's just hope I find it in the store or in my stash.
Yeah.
But man, it's hard to
I'm
keep
surprised they don't have you like running on a TV, like your channel in the store.
They
really should, because that would help. I mean, people go to the dollar store to buy a thing like for a regular reason, but you're giving them a whole different reason to shop.
It's interesting. If you go on their website, a lot of the crafts that I created, they'll have like their version of it, and then like not mention the creators. It's like me and a few others. So it's like, dang, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
But it's expected. It's expected. So you just kind of have to like brush it off and keep moving.
Imitation, greatest form of flattery, as they say.
I don't like that.
No, I don't either. It's actually imitation very annoying. Yeah.
I think that's something that somebody came up with just to like make you feel better.
I think so too.
When they say like if a bird poops on you, it's good luck.
They say that?
Yeah, they say that if a bird poops on you, it's good luck.
Somebody said that because they got pooped on.
Somebody was like, oh, this happened, but that means I'm gonna be like a millionaire later on. No, that just means you got pooped on. Like
it's like the rain on the wedding day thing. Like, oh, that's good luck.
No, it's not. You just don't want to make the bride feel bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
So as a multi-platform content creator, when you're filming, because YouTube is filmed in the landscape view, and TikTok and Instagram are filmed in the portrait view.
Yes.
Are you running two cameras at the same time, doing the same content, or are you doing multiple takes, different directions, or are you editing the video to be landscape?
So when I first started transitioning my YouTube content into like TikTok and all of that, I had horrible edits. Everything was really zoomed in because I was just taking the regular video and just zooming in. I would keep it with the black squares. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. So now I kind of just become a little bit more strategic. I'll film things in a way where even if I do zoom in into like the vertical format, it won't look horrible. Or I'll buy another mount and put my phone on my tripod with my regular DSLR, which is what I use to film. It is an extra step, and it does suck a bit because you're kind of like, oh man, now I have to see if I'm in frame over here and over there. But once you get used to it, it's kind of like, okay, you know what? It's worth having the extra camera, but it is a pain. I'll tell you that.
I love that question too, Mike, by the way, because that's something I wouldn't think to ask, but it fascinates me how you guys create, and again, across all these different platforms.
Yeah.
That's just publishing to that would be exhausting, much less coming up with the creative that you're filming.
I wish I could fake it and say like, it's honestly so easy, guys.
Yeah,
like, you
figured it out.
Just post.
It's a process.
Just post. All you have to do is post. But no, let me tell you, like it's not as easy as people make it seem. It takes the life out of you. I've had to like sweat running down my face, running back like, am I in the frame?
Yeah.
I've filmed entire videos where the camera has been off.
Oh my.
No.
That would just, I would just go to bed.
I would stop for the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I went home. I can't even explain it. Like the things that came out of my mouth were not nice.
Yeah.
And I just was in bed for like 2 days so mad. I was like, I cannot believe that I filmed an entire thing that I cannot remake because it wasn't something small.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And some of the footage was blurry. My camera died midway. Like when something is not supposed to work, it just does not work.
Yeah, I hear you.
So
yeah, it's like just fighting against the wind.
Yeah.
For sure.
At that point, you're just like, I give up. I'm done. Like you can have this project, universe. Like
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
done.
Yeah, I tap out. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is your full-time job.
Yeah.
And there's another question that a lot of Instagrammers always ask me, and I don't have a good answer, so I'm going to ask you.
Sure.
And hopefully, if this is your full-time job, you'll give me the answer that I can then give them, because imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Okay.
We've covered that.
How do you store all of your footage? Do you store it in the cloud? Do you store it on hard drives?
Yeah.
Are you using, discs?
I've heard horror stories,
Yes.
and I've had bad things happen when I have no space and I've had to delete. So I am a little extreme. So every time I film a project, I will dedicate one memory card to that.
Oh.
And I'll keep the raw footage on that memory card.
Wow, that's.
I'll
So Organization Conversations, a podcast, that is a great organizational tip.
Oh no,
like,
it's I'm sure it's overkill. I'm sure somebody's, out there like that. Well, why would you do that? That's so much money. But I've had situations where I have to go back and my footage is gone and you can't, how are you going to replicate something that's already done? Like, are you going to get another house? No.
Yeah.
So I started keeping the memory cards and keeping the raw footage for a certain period of time. So I'd be like, okay, 3 months max on this. Mm-hmm. The edited footage in the different formats I would have on a hard drive. And every now and then, if I really felt like I needed to protect that footage, I would put it on a second hard drive that just had more space. So that's kind of what I'm doing now to avoid any hiccups. But I'm sure there's better ways. It's not a very... I don't know.
What do you do, Mike? These are good questions. Like I love. It's like behind the scenes, like how the pizza's made, kind of thing. Yeah.
So I'm investing in the cloud as someone who sells software as well as locomotives. I know the value of having the cloud behind me. AWS or iPhone. They are backing it up every hour, protecting your data.
Okay.
So that's what I use, but there's an expense to that. So however you're paying one way or another, and if you're working with a brand and you lose valuable footage, sometimes you only have one product that you can use, and once you've used it, if you have lost it, now that's problematic.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
That's
sometimes.
Right.
Yeah,
you can't unring the bell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the reason I say keeping the raw, unedited footage is I've worked with brands before where they'll be like, "This is great, but we didn't want you to edit this. We need you to send over what you had, noise and all, and we'll take care of it." And I don't have that because whenever you put your stuff into an editing software, everything kind of distorts a bit, no matter what you're using, whether it's, on your PC, on the phone, whatever it is. So I have become, after 6 years, I'm finally like, maybe I should hold on to this stuff a little longer.
Yeah.
I used to delete my videos.
Yeah.
And now I regret it because I'm like, I should be reusing my good
for
stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
So, it just...
Well, you live, you learn, and that's the truth, so... Yeah.
I'm going to have to, recreate stuff and just be like, ta-da!
Yeah.
So since this is an organizational show, I would like to ask, do you have one or two tips of organization that you could give to the people that are listening? Is there an organizational tip? Is there something in the dollar store that people don't think of? Or is there something that we can walk away with that's tangible about organization?
I appreciate that, Mike. That's a great question. Another great question.
Oh,
He's making my job so easy. I just get to sit and enjoy.
I think you should give him a job.
I think so. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
He said he's not great with coming up with words, but he's got plenty of them now.
He just says that. He's the best.
I bet.
Yeah.
It's to throw you off guard.
I think so, yeah.
So, I have ADHD, so I'm all over the place. I'm really bad at organization, but I came up with a system that really has helped, especially now with this move. I know where things are because I gave everything a home. Mm-hmm. So even if the home doesn't make sense to other people, it made sense to me. So I have dedicated bins to certain things. So like anything that is sticky and meant to hold things together goes in a bin.
I like that.
Glues, tapes, things that go, like hooks that go on walls, everything, even if it's meant for kitchen, it goes in this home.
That is a great category.
And it doesn't make sense to certain people because certain people will be like, okay, but this should be in your kitchen. Why do you have it here?
This is kitchen. That's garage. That's, yeah.
Right. But I know that I can tell you, if you go downstairs and hang a right and you go to the third bin, with the thing on it, then that's where that is. That's how my brain works. So the only thing that I could say is, if you have a system, whether it makes sense or not, because some people, their chaos makes sense. Organization is not really the same to you than what it is to me. Then do what works. Because I've tried these intricate systems.
Yeah.
I've bought the expensive things. I've done so many things, and there's only certain ones that I can vibe with. There's a lot of things here that I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
But,
well, any way we can help you, we got you covered for
sure.
Thank
you so much.
Sure. Yeah, that's. To your point about like, it's funny because we're in distribution and inventory management, and I find it fascinating. So Amazon fulfillment centers. Mm-hmm. They don't organize things by any sort of, it's just completely random storage.
Oh.
So like when there's an empty spot, the next thing goes in it because people shop randomly. Okay. So they found that takes away less travel and steps for it to literally just be randomized. I mean, they know where everything is, but it's not in, so it's all that to say, what makes sense and what seems organized really depends on what you're trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
And so for them, chaos is way more organized.
Right.
Or organized chaos is way more organized than putting stuff in its own bucket.
Yeah, alphabetical order.
Exactly.
I can't do that. I can't. My brain doesn't go to like A, B, C. No, my brain goes to like, okay.
Sticky things.
Yeah, sticky things. Sticky things in a box.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Sticky things in a box.
I'm going to go home and reorganize.
Everything.
My kitchen's going to look totally different.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to be like, my spices have a home.
Yeah.
With the knives and forks.
Yeah. No, if it makes sense to you, it makes sense to you.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what it is. That's the only way it can be. I've tried it all. I have, and I'm like, how I can't even handle putting the lid on things. Why would I put? I can't.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jay, thank you for sitting down with us. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
One last time, how can people find you on YouTube, Instagram, and all the things?
So, on YouTube and all of my handles, I am Jay Munee, DIY, JayMunee, DIY. Same thing on all platforms, obviously with some spaces.
You made it easy.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah, that was
tried.
smart.
I tried, thanks.
Excellent.
So I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on all the things. I try and put my eggs in so many baskets.
That's the way to do it, for sure. So, well, thanks so much, Jay. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. Organization Conversation is brought to you by Wall Control, a family-owned and operated producer of best-in-class wall-mounted organizers for your home or business, made right here in the USA. To learn more, go to wallcontrol.com.